TikTok has reportedly been turning a blind eye to exploitation against minors on their platform, at least according to a lawsuit that was filed against them by the state of Utah. This actually was filed back in June, but more recently, all of these details have been unredacted, and TikTok tried to prevent that from happening for a while. The judge decided the public had a right to know these details. So TikTok has long been known for its video live streams encouraging sexual conduct and exploiting children, yet they turned a blind eye because it profited significantly from them, according to newly unsealed material in a lawsuit from Utah. And by the way, we're still on this countdown to when TikTok may or may not get banned in the US.
Yeah.
That is supposed to be deliberated by the Supreme Court today, but we still don't know what decision they're going to make, if they're going to hold off on the ban decision or if we're going to keep the deadline that Biden signed on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just another, point that people have been making this whole time, is that, even if TikTok does get banned, there might be not just benefits in terms of users keeping their privacy, but also benefits in terms of the effect that it has on children using the platform. So they say that they prioritize safe live streaming and maintain that this has all been cherry-picked evidence by the Attorney General. The Utah State Attorney General says that the live streaming feature on TikTok created a, quote, virtual strip club by connecting victims to adult predators in real time. This is something I recognized from back when we were talking about the misuse of Twitch, the streaming platform Twitch, because they also have TOS saying that users have to be 13 and up. Regardless, there is still softcore pornographic content on that platform. But there were users even under 13 streaming.
It's not like we would expect that to work.
Yeah, of course.
For that, it's the 13 plus thing has never actually stopped anyone.
Right, but there were users under 13 live streaming on Twitch, and it turned out it's kind of is reminiscent of what we were talking about yesterday with child influencers on Instagram.
Yeah.
There were huge groups of creepy predators creating databases and Telegram group chats to commune with one another about who to victimize on the platform. So there was a whole investigation into that. Twitch was never held accountable. And it seems like they're trying to hold TikTok accountable for a similar situation. We have another 20 from That Stanza-tastic.
Thank you.
Why is chair not one of the options? How dare you try to push the star of this show, Chaircast, off the pole? Unbelievable, y'all. Have happy weekend. Yeah. Borax, so good.
I'm okay with that. Borax, so good.
We can let Chair have it.
That was actually
that would be
I asked
medium.
I asked if we should have a third option, and you said no. But maybe Chair would have been a good one.
You said the third option should be Tim, and I was like, Tim has enough play buttons.
That would have been
to go round.
He really does. He uses them as doorstops.
He definitely doesn't need another play button. Yeah. In a probe uncovered in early 2022. It appeared that hundreds of thousands of 13 to 15-year-olds bypassed the TikTok live stream feature's minimum age restriction. Many children were then allegedly groomed by adults to perform sexual acts, sometimes involving nudity, in exchange for virtual gifts. And that means the same thing that those NPC streamers were competing for, literal pennies.
Yeah.
And that sounds like what he called it, a virtual strip club for children.
Well, also they would have like in-app currency and stuff.
Yeah. The complaint also said another probe in 2021 found criminals used live stream feature on TikTok to launder money, sell drugs, and fund terrorism, including by Islamic State.
It's weird. Like I remember back, like in the day, in like an old episode of Person of Interest, they talked about how video game currency was being used by like Russian terrorists, and I was like, that seems far fetched, but obviously not.
Yeah, no, not at all. We have another 20 from Jose Quintana. Happy Friday! Congratulations on the play button. I'm glad it happened in my lifetime. I can now die in peace, but not yet. Long live PCC. Long live the chair.
Yeah, and I posted a picture of it next to the Tom Cruise candle, and people were like, "Wow, I thought they made the play button smaller." And I'm like, "Did you think how big? No, it is. It is smaller."
No, but actually, the YouTube play button is smaller than it used to be. They used to
absolutely.
manufacture it much larger, and then they decided that we deserve less.
Yeah.
So.
But look, if you watch what's going on today with Mark Zuckerberg's interview with Joe Rogan, and he's talking about the pressure the government was putting on them to make changes, if they wanted to make the changes, they could have. If TikTok wanted to make changes, they could have.
Well, TikTok's lame excuse for preventing these details from getting unsealed to the public was they didn't want the lawsuit to provide a roadmap for predators on how to misuse their platform.
It's like, have you ever seen the videos of people who show you how like to protect your room from getting broken into, which by enforce teaches you how to break into a room?
Yes.
Yeah. It's always at hotels. It's like how to keep your hotel room safe.
They say a TikTok spokesperson commented, "This lawsuit ignores the number of proactive measures that TikTok has voluntarily implemented to support community safety and well-being. Instead, their complaint cherry picks misleading quotes and outdated documents, presenting them out of context, which distorts our commitment to the safety of our community." So they just had a very word salad, corporate friendly response.
Can you think of anyone in these spaces where like the corporate speak isn't as intense as it is these days? Like nobody says anything when they release these statements. Like I'm trying to think of, so like Dana White is kind of better. Dana White just kind of says whatever he says. But whenever you get one of these messages on, you know, from some department at some big corporation, they don't actually say anything.
Well, it seems like they're backtracking and trying to whitewash the tomb here. You know?
Yeah.
Like they don't want the public to know about these details because it makes them look bad, especially in the eyes of U.S. lawmakers who are going to decide a huge portion of their customer base.
And now we have to talk about Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank wanting to buy it.
We're literally just going to call him Shark Tank Guy.
That's what I saw several channels refer to him as Shark Tank Guy.
Shark Tank Guy, a.k.a. Kevin O'Leary, a.k.a. Mr. Wonderful. He calls himself Mr. Wonderful.
I mean, he sounds like he should be a pro wrestler.
Kevin O'Leary says that he is nearing a deal to buy TikTok's U.S. assets ahead of the national ban due for January 19th. But he needs Donald Trump's help to make the deal happen.
Of course.
Of course. Here was his announcement. "I'm excited to share I'm partnering with the Project Liberty to lead the people's bid for TikTok. This isn't just about buying TikTok's U.S. assets. It's about something much bigger, protecting the privacy of 170 million American users, empowering creators and small businesses, building a platform that prioritizes people over algorithms." Not even X does that.
No, none of them do that.
That's insane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're just gonna run the show like button like shot to shot.
Sure?
Yeah. I'll make timestamps for where everything. It's gonna make timestamps a little bit harder, but it'll be easier. So that way, it's like if you're talking and my camera's not just flickering while you're talking and distracting everyone.
I feel like that kind of adds to the ambiance of it all.
Well, maybe we leave it that way in the super chats.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
He continued, "TikTok has immense potential, not just as a tool for creators, but as a driver of meaningful economic and social impact. We're going to create an American-owned platform that's secure, innovative, and puts you in control of your data and digital relationships." That is not true.
You can't manufacture the success of something like TikTok.
Okay.
Like America cannot do that right now.
An American executive An American entrepreneur buying the U.S. assets of TikTok does not mean that American users suddenly have control and privacy. That just means that a U.S. company has control of their data and privacy.
Look at all the times Zuckerberg sold your data in China.
He literally called you dumb fucks. Have you seen these messages? Zuckerberg said, I have no idea why all of these people are putting in their personal data into Facebook. It's like so funny that they're so stupid.
So this was actually another plot line. It's funny that I mentioned person of interest, that in the show, the character of Harold, who invented the AI, he created social media so that the machine could get more information on people, and people were just willing. He's kind of like in the show. They talk about another guy who creates something like Facebook. So he's theoretically the Tom of this world, where he created like the first social network site so that he could get the machine to get more information from people, because people are very willing to give it up.
But you know what's even worse is it's not just about people losing their privacy. It's also about censorship. Censorship is pretty bad on TikTok. I mean, we would know. We're banned on TikTok.
We are banned on TikTok.
I am personally banned on TikTok. I don't know if I should even say that, but in case I want to make a second account. But yeah, I was banned on TikTok only a couple weeks after starting this job. And
yeah, because that was like a big thing when you got hired, was that you had a pretty good following and impact on TikTok, and then whoop, gone.
So I'm glad I didn't get kicked to the curb.
Yeah.
But you know, it's more so algorithmic based. So if you get mass reported on the platform, you're going to get banned regardless of what you actually did. There's no human eye looking over your case.
Yeah.
That's the issue, is that it's kind of arbitrary. But the issue with American controlled platforms like Meta, Facebook and Instagram, or Twitter all this time has been that they're politically biased in their censorship habits. So
there was all the talk about Zuckerberg firing the fact checkers so that they could hire, basically start doing community notes. And they were talking about how like fact checkers were different in California than they are in Texas. So I was like, well, if you're different from one state to another, doesn't that just kind of show you the malleability of like what you consider facts to be? Because it's all just opinion anyways.
Right, but I just think that if TikTok becomes a U.S.-owned, U.S.-controlled company for its American users, that can only be bad for the American users. Yeah. Right? I feel like it's better that there is an adversarial nation controlling TikTok.
How about
because that means that conversations about American politics are less disturbed and disrupted.
Well, wasn't it what they used to say was that like when the people in China look at TikTok, they're getting showed a very different set of videos than what people in America are. Meaning
but how
the
do
algorithm
we know that?
is, I don't look. I can't tell you how it's done per se. Like I'm just saying that was what the discussion was for a long time, which was that people in China were being shown videos about math, STEM, science, creation, like astrology or astronomy, excuse me, and the sciences, whereas Americans are being shown dumb, vapid people dancing.
I mean, that is massively overstated. It has to be.
I don't know.
It has to be.
Either
there's
way,
literally no way you can confirm that.
The government is, I believe, today they were hearing on behalf of TikTok today at the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess we'll find out by the end of today or maybe on Monday what they decide, if they're going to hold off the ban. It seemed really intentional that they decided the deadline would be January 19th when Biden authorized this.
Yes.
Because it was just on the cusp of Inauguration Day, like literally down to the last second. Yep. So.
And Trump asked for them to extend this. He asked the Supreme Court personally.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen.
We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think anybody doubts for a second that a platform like TikTok was looking to, exploit the people who are using it. That is for sure. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.